silent prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer, and please remember those in Las Vegas. At this time, if there's public comments, you'll go to the microphone and give your name.
Good evening. My name is Joanne McCullum. I live at 1900 Tyler Road.
Hi, Miss Joanne.
Hi. I just want to thank everyone involved that helped the West Willow community find a resolution to what happened a couple of weeks ago on our neighborhood. The meeting with Trustee Ross Williams, Clerk Lovejoy, and Supervisor Stumble, that was so helpful, and I really thank you for your support. It really, it was very calming. Even though it was work, it was very calming afterwards because we found a resolution. We started communicating very well with the Washoe County Sheriff Office. Derek Jackson is doing an excellent job. He's communicating. He's at a lot of our events, and it was good to talk to him and just to see where he was coming from, and that he was coming from a genuine place. It's just when you have that miscommunication or no communication, you have all this guesswork. And then I wasn't in a great mood when all that was happening. Anyway, we're best of friends now, so great guy. And also the young man that was involved, I'm so glad I was able to meet him and talk to him, and he's already emailed us about his plans for youth council, which we've been trying so hard to get. So sometimes when there's things that are upsetting like that, sometimes that's the only way that some good things can get started. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And I just have a short question. At the community center, we have Wi-Fi, and we wanted to know, because it's through the township, we want to know, is it free for if you're not in the building? Is it free for everyone? Like if you're outside the building and, you're at the bus stop or something? It has a range, the Wi-Fi at the community center. So when we get there, you can get free Wi-Fi. Township, it says the township. So what we're concerned about is our computers being hacked, because anybody in the general area can get on the Wi-Fi. I wasn't there when they put it in, so I don't know what the conditions were. Is it for free? At some point, was it going to be secured, or?
It's not free. Nothing.
I know. That's what I just said. I will check, but I'm almost sure it is not. Yes.
Free.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just came from my board meeting, so excuse me if I'm trying to.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. When the Wi-Fi was put in, which was actually when I was on the new West Willow Neighborhood Association board, it was meant to be for the use of the community center.
Okay.
Only.
Okay.
So if there is a incident of Wi-Fi being used outside of the community center,
right?
I don't know if that's what is happening. But I know when it was put in, it was meant to be for the community center.
Well, what's happening is people are coming there and they're sitting under the pavilion, or they're trying to get close to the building to get the Wi-Fi. They don't have to come in to get it. Is it secure? Is it a secure?
I don't think so.
See, that's the
It's not
challenge.
like the township site. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that the township one?
Then you
don't have to worry about it. It says township.
When the, excuse me, Mike Radzik, when the township honored the neighborhood association request to install Wi-Fi, and trustee Ross Williams is correct, it was for the purpose of the educational programs with the youth, so they could use those computers. Our IT department set that up. It's through Comcast.
Okay.
We pay about $1,400 a year out of the budget to keep that operational.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, it is an unsecured, open source Wi-Fi signal, just like the public signal here in the Civic Center that our visitors can connect to, that you might be connected to right now.
Right, except they can't get to your computers like they probably could get to ours, right? I mean, our computers that we use, should I say this in public? Our computers that we use for the association are there. So,
I think you're connecting to that open Wi-Fi signal.
yeah, we are. Yeah. So,
Put a password.
oh, come here.
Put a password on it.
Madam Chair, I would
Yeah.
just say we could ask our IT guy, but is that always like whenever you're using a public sort of Wi-Fi, you should always just be thoughtful of like websites you're going, anything you open, attachments, all that. But
well, we use it
other than that,
for our computers for our work there. So
Yeah.
it's not like we can.
do you save like secure information, like
Yeah.
personal, private, like social?
Not
security,
mine,
like,
but
full,
the
yeah.
association.
Okay. Maybe we could ask Travis. I don't.
So we're going to lock it.
We're going to put secured access on it.
That's what I do.
Lock it. We're going to put password on it.
Oh yeah, right.
We're going to put password on it. We just wanted to know was it for the open public
Right.
or for the center specifically.
Because some people are saying, well, it's supposed to be free. I should be able to come here and do this anytime I want. Like, oh, let me check.
Shows you a real need people have.
Yeah. But, go tell them about the computers
Okay.
and everything. how-
Any other comment?
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
Michael. That's okay.
I'm done.
Okay, yes, I'm Tyrone Bridges. I'm the advisor for the neighborhood association. And like I said, we got our computers up, access to Windows 10 now, all of them at full capacity, fully connected to the internet, be able to surf any websites in the county or anything that the people look for job sites or whatever, they can come in now. We've also did extensive cleaning today. With the sheriff's department's help, we had the work crew there, and through the help of one of the deputies, we had the crew to come out and cleaned it from top to bottom. So you guys will see a 360 improvement from previously. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that. We got a lot of big things that's coming. We can't wait to launch them. And also, Brenda, please answer your email about using the township logo for our Community Fun Day on the 21st. We're trying to do something for the community, second annual Community Fun Day. Real quick, just to give you guys an update on the young gentleman that actually broke into a resident's car. Just quickly show you how community action happens to work together and get things solved. One of the advisors saw the picture on Nextdoor, and he actually inboxed me and showed me the picture. And within 2 to 3 hours, we had it sold down to where's the mother, and the mother was actually one of the parents that I actually work with her daughter in one of my programs. So we actually nailed down the suspect, contacted deputies, and let them know, hey, we got the guy, and he was communicating with me, trying to get the glasses back that he stole. He was remorseful, so I got all the testimony and everything from that. And so, peaceful story in the end. He actually was responsible for several break-ins. So once when the deputy get a hold to him, then we have him in custody. But show you how teamwork works in the community. When we work together, we can get a lot of things done. We also got a few addresses that we would like to actually not pick on nobody, but we would like to bring it to the township's board. I'm not going to mention them right now. I want to find an appropriate way to actually mention it so we don't step on nobody's toes. But they're problem houses.
Just you can report it to whitetown.org or to
Okay.
Michael Radzik, and we can deal with it.
Okay. All that major stuff that we've been happening over the last few weeks, y'all. Raised them houses. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do. Any other comments?
My name is Arloa Kaiser. I live at 1421 Melvin Street, and I am still trying to get the Washtenaw County Road Commission to say they will not put the roundabout in at Cross Street and North Harris Road. It's more expensive. After a board meeting, I was told that the roundabout only cost $5,000 more to put a roundabout in. And if I believe that, I am out of my mind. And I don't know why the chair said that. It's stupid. But I would encourage everyone to call the Washtenaw Road Commission, say that they are against it. Yes, we need improvements. So many things are questionable, but the road does need to be improved, and hopefully it will help the people. I do believe that it would be nice that the community, the roads that are going to be improved, that the people who live on them have some kind of input. We have rain gardens. To me, it's just a ditch with some weeds growing in it that the homeowners have to maintain. It's not the road commission. What about what we, the people who pay the taxes, the road commission does not, the members there do not live on those streets, so it's the convenience of the people who live there. And what they're saying is the key word is safety. Well, we have traffic lights for safety. We still have people running the red lights. We have now bicycle paths. People don't always ride in the bicycle paths. They go where they want. We have sidewalks for safety. People are walking in the streets, not at the crosswalks. What is safe and what isn't safe? You're always going to have some kind of problem. But let's get the roads in good conditions before we do all these fancy roundabouts and that type of thing. Let's get them done so that we do have good roads. And what is going to happen when we have these autonomous cars? How are they going to manage the roundabouts? Or is this the road commission's thought that it means job security for them? So I would ask everyone to call the road commission, Roy Townsend in particular, and the whole board. So if you would please help me. We don't need to spend extra money on a roundabout. Most people don't like it. It's across dead ends at North Harris. Michigan Avenue, and North Harris does not go for actual through traffic across Michigan Avenue. So people are just going to find another road to go to Michigan Avenue, which that's going to put more traffic on another street with a roundabout. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ms. Kaiser did submit petitions, which we sent to every board member. Are there any other public comment? Hearing none. Consent agenda. We have the minutes of the September 19th work session, a regular meeting, and statements and checks. So moved. Motion Rowe.
Support.
Support Wilson. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General legal update. Attorney Winters.
Madam Chair, I would probably just very briefly indicate that these are more of updates in regards to what are important quality of life issues, I believe, as well as in many cases they also have a economic development component to it. And what I'm referring to is the Forbes cleaners. We've heard discussion tonight about trying to help with redevelopment of Michigan and Ecorse Road. The Forbes cleaners, we have scheduled an internal meeting on October 12th with Mary Miller from the MDEQ and Nathan Vogt from the Washtenaw County. This, of course, is the property that's contaminated. It's going to have to be demolished. The structure is going to be demolished. And as you demolish something like this, unfortunately, because of the contamination. It also gives opportunity for redevelopment. And I think right now that this has been kind of one of those areas of the township that was a mainstay fixture for many, many years. And even though the dry cleaners is closed and will now be demolished, it does present some opportunities as part of the master planning processes down the road to sort of figure out what's going to be a good fit for E-Course and Michigan Avenue. I do know that during tonight's discussion in the work session about hiring an individual to sort of promote Ypsilanti Township marketing, I did see, I think it may be a very short clip of what Dan Gilbert put together on behalf of the city of Detroit in an effort to try and attract Amazon.com. Now, I realize right now that I'm not comparing the two, I'm just saying, but it's part of that marketing ideas, I think, it's going to have to be done and take advantage of ACM coming here to try and get the second and third tier of redevelopment. And I believe this property, E-Course Road, is going to play a very important part in the redevelopment of this section of E-Course Road and the township in general. Also, in regards to other issues pertaining to economic redevelopment, I believe there was a conference call. I think Mike just took off, but there was a conference call between the current owner of Galt Village, the new prospective owner of Galt Village, Township Attorney Dennis McClain. They are going to meet on site tomorrow to do an inspection on that property, try to get their arms around what this vision may be for the redevelopment of Galt Village. We've made it quite clear that the proceeds that are under the control of the receiver are going to be utilized to repair that retaining wall. As all of you are aware, that retaining wall behind Galt Village has been in very, very poor shape for many, many years. And so we don't want to have that retaining wall collapse. We repaired it in part, but it has to be probably, I don't want to say redone in its entirety, but it may very well require that to secure that part of the Galt Village, especially for the properties that back up to that rear access of behind Galt Village. So we'll know more tomorrow about the potential redevelopment plans, if any, that we'll have by the next board meeting. We're also going to try and acquire the remaining 5 lots that make up the Liberty Square development over there. That's one that we believe has got a tremendous amount of potential for redevelopment, again, as part of this visionary for the township, especially given its proximity to the expressway, proximity to ACM, and we're only 4 or 5 lots away from having total control of that site, and we're going to try and meet with those individual property owners and see what we can work out. Again, that's long-term, short-term and long-term potential there. I saw Rob in the audience tonight, and tomorrow we're scheduled to do 3 more closings on the Habitat properties that we acquired in June of this year from the county treasurer, right of first refusal. You may recall last time I had given a deadline to give us these deeds by date certain. They waited to the very last day to sign the deeds, so I got the deeds. And so Rob will get them tomorrow, and those documents will be signed. The township will be made whole again from those 3 properties, and Giovanna won't have to worry about these properties being in the land bank for a long period of time. This way, it's going to be, the transaction is occurring the way it should be. At the same time, we're trying to get some new engineering drawings for the sidewalk easements for Reimagine Washtenaw. The original plans for were 20 feet of sidewalk. We have asked Matt Parks to give us the drawings that were going to be maybe for 10 feet of the sidewalks. And once I had those drawings and easements in hand, I will approach the attorneys for the 5 property owners to see if we can get this off the dime. Those dollars have been lying around at the county for the last 2 or 3 years, and we do know from a pedestrian safety standpoint, those sidewalks are really needed. We did file a complaint with the state of Michigan in regards to the what has been going on at 543 Wharton Street, the Adult Foster Care Facility. Again, I think I would Be remiss not to at least mention the efforts of the Neighborhood Watch Coordinator, Tammy Keene, and Brenda Stumbo, as well as the Sheriff Eugene Rush over the last 2 or 3 years to try and continue to put this issue front and center, to try and hold the adult foster care licensee accountable for what's going on over there. They turn a deaf ear to our concerns, and at this point in time, we've now filed the appropriate complaint with the state of Michigan, and as soon as I hear back from them in regards to what they're going to do with this complaint, I'll keep the board apprised. Finally, while we are still going through the due diligence for the sale of the 2 cell towers to SBA Communications for the $740,000, I did receive another inquiry from a person in Colorado, San Diego. They keep moving around in regards to whether or not the township has any interest in doing something similar with the cell tower at 2801 Holmes Road. This is a little bit more of a different structure than the other two because there was a renegotiation back in 2011, and the value is not quite the same as the value for the other two. But I did send out a letter to the gentleman, and he saw copies of that this past weekend, where I'm going to at least explore all the options in regards to that, because again, this industry is changing so rapidly that I think it's something the township should pursue if the offer comes back. It appears to be in keeping with the previous offers. The gentleman did say that the township, he thought, did very well with the previous negotiations, and he understands what we're looking for in terms of potential lump sum payment. So there's a lot of different things going on simultaneously, but I think right now that we also have contract negotiations that are going on with the fire department. We'll continue to meet with them, and there may be some additional updates that I'll need to share with you in that regard in the next several weeks with the fire chief. So that's kind of a Cliff Notes version, maybe of some of the things you've been reading about, but hopefully that brings you up to date as best as I can this evening.
Questions or comments? From Wharton Street, I know the residents are going to be happy that we might be able to prevent that from happening again with that particular company, but I'm not sure what we can do from a legal perspective as a township. But a lot of people are renting houses. They're buying houses. They're renting them under the adult foster care or adult, what's it called, Stan? Not foster care, is it?
I think it's adult foster care license.
And usually you go through the planning commission if it's more than 6 people. And if it's below 6, then you have to go through a process as well. And they're somehow circumventing, they're asking for 12, and then the state comes out and says, well, you don't have enough space to do 12, so you can have 6, but it's not really following the process that we have from a planning standpoint. And I don't know if I'm capturing what's happening, but I know the rascals are getting around it, and they're putting people in, and it's causing disruption. There's one in the Holmes Road area that's similar to Wharton. It's a new owner. They have different residents living in there. It's a rental. And if you have 0 to 6, you're supposed to live in that house with, right, and it's not. It's a rental. Wharton was a rental. They didn't live in that house. You know, they had 24-hour care. They didn't live in the house. So, I mean, it's always something. The rabbit changes its color. Like we figure something out, and then they try something new. And this is a new approach that they're doing, whether it's for the parolees or mental health patients. They're just not going through this process that they're supposed to, in my opinion.
They're actually doing indirectly what they can't do directly. When I say that, what I mean is we grew up had neighbors that were adult foster care licensees, and they lived with the individuals, and they were family, and they very much protected those individuals, and it was a very, very good for the integration of individuals who need special care sometimes to be part of the community. What's happening here is that they're getting a license for 12, which does not require the person to live there that owns the house, but they're getting a license for 12, but then they know they're only going to be permitted to have two or three. So they don't have to, so they're getting around the requirement of having to actually physically live there by having a license. And
not coming through the planning commission.
And the state, quite frankly, is complicit in that they're not naive. They know what they're doing, and they're allowing that to occur. And it's unfair at times to all the individuals involved. They're not getting the resources, the services, and the attention that they deserve. And we normally get if the person living in the house actually was there. And in this one on Warden Street, township officials, we met with the county, we met with Spectrum. That's who they are, Spectrum out of Westland. And it was obviously not one that they were going to do anything about. And the neighbors, I'll give them an awful lot of credit because they continued to at least share what was going on and reported. I listened to the 911 calls. And what was going on over there, it's not right for any standard for human dignity and for having the most vulnerable people in society not being taken care of in a very dignified, humane fashion. So we're going to try to at least send a message if we can to have this license revoked, but that doesn't solve the problem township-wide, but hopefully the neighborhood watches continue to let us know, because that's how we found out what was going on in Warden Street.
There's one in...
So Spectrum's actually running them. I don't know.
Right.
Because I remember they were coming, we were going to buy them, so they went. So it makes it even more difficult to find out who they are.
Well, their name's on the deed, so I don't know what they're doing with who ownership. Their name's on the deed, so they have also the licensee. So it could very well be an issue also as to it could be some hidden ownership. I don't know, but this whose name's on the deed anyways.
Spectrum is on the deed?
As an owner, but they're circumventing that process. Trustee Gerald.
Just for my historical knowledge, I mean, other than this house and the one that you mentioned on Holmes, in the last, say, 4 years, how many times has this occurred? Is it...
What occurred, this kind of stuff?
Yeah, with the adult foster care homes.
Well, it seems to be something that's really started recently, in the last couple of years.
I was just curious.
We had one in Burns that was really bad, too, remember?
Right, on the west side.
You say 10 years, probably at least 10.
But now...
But now it's more concrete, more in the last year or two.
Yeah, and I think...
a new trend.
Yeah, so if it wasn't for residents saying something, we would not know,
And many of these properties are unlicensed too, I would say. In other words, as you recall, the one house that was renting out individual bedrooms, we're seeing more of those issues too. So it's hard to really know unless the neighbors complain or tell us what's going on, because sometimes if they're not being licensed, they're under the radar and under the licensing, even at the state level. So we also have one, as you know, going on Cross Street right now, where that's been one that's
a
also
larger
where
one.
actually the state itself is now seeking to revoke their license because of the neglect, the death that occurred there. No more patients are being even placed into that location. So I don't know. The resources have not been there to follow many of the people who are in need of those type of resources, and it's lack of neglect, lack of care, and sometimes neighbors are reluctant to call in, but we've encouraged people to let us know what's going on, because unless we know what's going on, we can't really help, and that's what we're trying to do. Not trying to do anything to hurt anyone, but just to make sure that what went on here on Wharton Street may be the more extreme example, but it went on for a long period of time.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. This is just a comment, just a general comment. This is, if they're unlicensed, obviously they're unlicensed, but if they're licensed, they are supposed to be regulated. by the state of Michigan. In fact, they're supposed to have someone in the Department of Human Services that goes out and check on these houses. I know I used to have a daycare license. They used to have someone that came out and checked on my daycare license. So it's actually, I'll say it, appalling that these situations are being allowed to go on without DHS checking on these licensed facilities. If you have a license for 12, then you need to have the facility to handle 12. If you don't have, if a house, you usually don't have 12 rooms in a house.
Right.
So I don't even understand for the life of me how it is that they're even getting license for approved for 12, and you only have room for 6. They used to have, and I don't know, maybe that's changed since time. That was way back in the early 2000s. I had my daycare license, but they used to have someone come out and actually inspect your property to make sure that you could either have a home care license for 6 or a home care license for 12. And usually, if you were just in a regular house, you wouldn't get a home care license for 12. So, I really am, again, appalled that the state of Michigan has allowed this to get to this level.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none? Thank you, Doug. The next item is a tabled item is request to approve a creative post-election specialist position tabled at the July 18th regular meeting.
Motion to remove from table?
Support.
Motion, Gerald Rowe. Support, Jimmy Wilson.
Madam Chair, I move that we didn't vote. Sorry.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Gumbo?
Yes.
Rowe? Ross Williams?
Yes.
Eldridge?
No.
Yes.
Rowe. Gerald Rowe.
It's okay.
Sorry. Trustee Wilson?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move that we refer this agenda item to HR.
Some motion?
Second.
Second to refer to HR?
Madam Chair, just a clarification for Trustee Wilson. Does that mean going with supporting to move it to negotiations, or is there any more detail? Could you just explain a little bit more what you mean?
Can I just say one thing before you answer? And I would support taking it off the agenda. I would hate to box in our personnel director or manager in the negotiations by forcing them to take it when we haven't even discussed the parameters of it yet. I would just say remove it and leave it, let it go. Let them decide as a negotiating group what they want to do.
Can I hear clarification from Trustee Wilson, please?
That's what
I just want to refer this to HR, since the HR department is a part of the negotiations anyways. I would just refer it back to them.
So there's no intent to request them to talk about it in negotiations necessarily?
I believe the HR director has said that she would prefer to talk about it during the
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for,
Yeah.
if that's what you mean by your motion or not.
Yes.
Yes. Do you understand?
Point of information. We are, because I second the motion, so I definitely need to understand if it has been changed. The point of the motion, if I have it correct, was to refer this matter over to HR. If I have it correct now, the point of the motion is to refer the matter to whom?
HR.
Okay, for...
That was my question. I wasn't trying to change Trustee Wilson's motion. I just wanted to understand, what do you want HR to do with it?
Let HR make the decision on what she needs to do with it.
Okay. Thank you.
So there's a motion and support to refer to HR. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
2.
Wait, I'm confused.
Yeah, I was confused.
What was the motion again? The motion?
Was to refer it to HR.
Yes,
Correct?
that's correct.
So all in
I wanted to say something if I could. discussion on the motion? Is that all right? I know people were concerned about discussing negotiations here, but we always discuss, that whole is kind of an anomaly to me because we're not specifically saying what to do. But if the board, all the discussion all along is everybody said, and they begged me and asked me a million times, just send it to negotiations, send it to negotiations. So now we have a motion not saying that you're going to go to negotiations. So, and regardless, I think we're not going to say what Karen's going to do with it in negotiations, but now it's just like, well, now the motion is just to send it to HR. So that's not what folks said that they wanted to do all along. But maybe they said that, but this is what they really want to do now, and they don't want it to go to negotiations. So I'm confused.
Trustee Eldridge, I'm sorry, Mike.
Would this be appropriate just to call the question right now?
I mean, I think we're having discussion, so.
Of course, you have the right to call the question.
I would call the question or make a motion to call the question.
Is there a support?
Support.
We have to vote on that.
On the call to question. For
Gerald Rowe.
But we can discuss it. Can we just say, I have something to say about that?
Well, if it's a call to question, we're just voting on if we're calling the question.
Correct.
No.
No, but I got something to
Yes.
say about calling the question.
Monica?
Can I just say something about
Karen, I think you've said a lot.
Well, I think to call the question, we had like 2 seconds on the motion to
There's a
table.
motion and support to call the question, and you have a vote on that.
I know, but I can still discuss it.
You have a vote on it, Karen. You vote on it.
But I can also say something.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
The purpose of calling a question is to end the discussion.
On that item, but I can say why we shouldn't call the question.
Yeah, you can have a discussion on calling the question.
I don't think it's fair. You just throw it out there, and that's all I got to say. It's not fair. It's just in debate. 2 seconds.
Gerald Rowe?
No.
No. Well, no. Eldridge?
Yes.
Yes.
Ross Williams? Yes.
No.
Rowe? No. Stumbo? Yes.
Yes.
The motion, it has been approved, and so therefore we're on the actual referring to the HR department motion.
Can we just hear a repeat of the motion for my clarity, please?
Motion to refer this agenda item to HR.
Thank you.
All in favor of referring to HR?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Gerald Rowe opposed. The motion passed. Budget amendment under new business, budget amendment number 13.
I would
Clerk
so
Rowe?
move budget amendment number 13 to, well, sorry about that. Motion to increase general fund by $77,000 to $11,012,359 and approve line item changes outlined, which is approval of budget item number 13.
Support.
There's a motion and support to approve the budget line item or budget amendment. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under new business 2, request of Habitat for Humanity for funds for the renovation of 2170 Wooddale and 1343 Jeff in the amount of $40,000, which is budgeted in line item 101-950-000-969-010.
Support.
Motion
Rowe, support Eldridge. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just would like to say that the two houses on Holmes, one's on Wendell, that are Habitat houses are looking so great. And I'm really just excited about everything Habitat continues to do in our community.
Great.
I was skeptical, Rob, when this came out several years ago. I really admit my skepticism was unfounded. You've done a wonderful job.
Thank you very much. Rob Nisley from Habitat for Humanity. I just want to thank the board for their continued support. We're going to be coming back in a meeting or two with a little bit more to talk about all the things that we've accomplished together, whether it's through our home renovations and our home improvement programs and our community development work. So we'll be able to dig in a little bit deeper and look at some of the properties that we've worked on together. But as Doug mentioned, tomorrow purchasing 3 more tax foreclosures, which is fantastic. We just finished last Friday 8 roof replacements in West Willow, and we've done some exterior home improvement projects in both Sugarbrook and Westville over the last several weekends. We've already closed 5 houses in the township in our fiscal year, which started July 1st. So for us, that's fantastic. Ours often get pushed back to spring, so we have new Habitat homeowners here in the township. And we'll have another one next Thursday at 2144 Wooddale, just on the street from the one that we're discussing tonight. And, the good news is that the number of foreclosures continues to shrink, which makes my job more difficult. But I think the good news is we see some new construction on the horizon, and we'll be back to talk more about how we can do that together.
Okay, there's a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
you, Rob. Resolution 2017-23, which is establishing water sewer subsidy income level. Clerk Rowe.
I have resolution number 2017-23 to establish water and sewer subsidy income levels. And whereas Ypsilanti Township has established a water and sewer bill subsidy program for township citizens of limited income, and whereas the Ypsilanti Township adopts the following guidelines for the supervisor's office to implement. The guidelines shall include but not be limited to the specific income and asset levels of the claimant and all persons residing in the household filed in the immediately preceding year. All household income cannot exceed 30% of the median income for Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County, as published annually by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority for Section 8 housing vouchers. The most recently available guidelines shall be used by the supervisor's office. 2, a copy of the applicant's completed and signed final income tax return, if required to be filed, and or Michigan Homestead Property Tax Credit Claim 1040CR and or Social Security statement for the prior year must be submitted for the application to be considered. Additionally, a copy of the prior year federal income tax return for any other occupant of the homestead is required. Applicants are requested to black out all references to Social Security numbers prior to submitting the necessary paperwork. Water sewer subsidies must be applied for each year. If the subsidy is granted, it is only for 1 year. Applicants should reside in the Township of Ypsilanti and be the property owner. Verification of this will be completed when application is submitted. The subsidy shall show on the applicant's Ypsilanti Community Utilities Authority bill as a $20 credit. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the supervisor's office shall follow the above stated policy in granting and denying subsidies, unless the supervisor determines there are substantial and compelling reasons why there should be a deviation from the policy, and these are communicated in writing to the claimant. I would so move the resolution.
There's a motion by Rose, supported by Ross Williams, to approve the resolutions. Or questions or comment or discussion? Thank you. The resolution is similar to the one we did in 2012. The only difference is the rate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a request of approval to renew a warranty for Rainbird irrigation computer software and large decoder interface for use at Green Oaks Golf Course in the amount of $9,772, which is budgeted in line item 584-584-000-818-000.
Move to approve.
Support.
Motion Wilson, support Eldridge. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under authorization of bids, we have the request of Eric Copeland, the fire chief, to award the low bid for replacement of the carpet at fire station headquarters to Shamrock Floor Covering Services in the amount of $18,804. It's budgeted in line item 206-970-000-971-008.
Madam Supervisor, if it pleases the board, I would like to withdraw this request. And let's go back and start this process over in an attempt to draw local vendors into this process, if it pleases the board.
Well, you requested to put it on. I guess you can request to take it off. Would that be?
I think that's an excellent idea.
I concur.
Okay, Chief.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So, we're removing it from the agenda then?
Yep.
We'll just,
At chief's request. Is that all right?
I'm just trying to think of how we handle this technically.
Take no action.
Motion to table it? Motion to rebid?
Remove it from the agenda?
I would just move that upon the request of the Chief Copeland that we remove this from the agenda.
Support.
Motion Rose, support Gerald Rowe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a request of Eric Copeland, our fire chief, to award the low bid for the replacement of 2 furnaces, 2 air conditioning units, and 2 humidifiers at the fire station headquarters to Al Waters Heating and Cooling in the amount of $17,875, which is budgeted in line item 206-970-000-971-008.
So moved.
Support.
Motion Eldridge, support Wilson. Chief, I just have a question on the bid. The low bid was Al Walters for the first, I didn't understand it.
The specifications were written in a way not to favor any manufacturer. So our efficiency rating that we wrote the specs to is kind of generic, was a 90% with a SEER rating, I think in the lower or higher SEER rating for the air conditioning units. That's what was bid on by all of the contractors. L. Walters had the low bid, and this was similar to what we did last year with him. He also, I think it's part of his bid, I wasn't there at the bid opening, apparently he had 2 options, and the second option would be for like the Cadillac version of a furnace and air conditioning unit that has a 96, I think it is, or 98% efficiency rating, and the higher SEER and decibel ratings on the air conditioning unit. I like the second option. I like both options, but the second option, because it was still under what was budgeted for the project, well under what was budgeted for the project, I would request of the board that we take option 2.
But why didn't the other people or other companies submit bids for option 2?
I guess that would be I can't explain why he did it that way. Al Walters did it that way.
I can understand why
Yeah.
he did it.
Yeah, they submitted bids. I wasn't actually present at the bid openings, so I didn't actually see their bids. But in terms of the way Al presents his bids, this is not uncommon. He did this last year
He's
also.
the lowest bid for option 1, but he's the only one that bid on option 2. Is that correct?
Well, it wasn't, the
It wasn't a bid.
proposal was not for an option 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, he included an option 2.
But what was bid was option 1.
What was bid was option 1.
And every other bidder presented option 1 bids.
That is my understanding, yes.
Is that correct? Why would we do that?
The only thing I would say in defense of this is, likewise to our earlier request on the carpet to look for an Ypsilanti Township, he appears to be in Ypsilanti Township. He's still below the budgeted amount. None of the other ones, only one other one is even from Washtenaw County.
No, I love Al Walters, but my concern is that you bid it for option 1. You had one bidder submit for option 2, and the other bidders did not have the opportunity to submit for option 2 because that wasn't part of the bid, correct?
Some of them did bid, but I think, wasn't he still the lowest even with option 2? He was still lower than them with option 1, and that's a higher efficiency.
No.
If I could say it this way, I would say his bid was confusing in that he bid option 1. Everyone bid, I wouldn't say option 1. Everyone bid on the spec, what was specified in the bid package. That's what everyone bid to. He attached to his bid a second option with a Cadillac appliances. Higher, he submitted an option 2.
Okay. And no one other company could submit a Cadillac, or did submit a Cadillac?
Or did submit a Cadillac.
Okay, just to make sure I understand that.
So
Trustee,
let me say this. Can I say it this way? If we move forward, I would move forward with his proposal,
Right.
option 1.
that's what
I'm just trying to articulate to the board that the option 2 that he put on his bid proposal is another excellent choice to make. So of the two choices, I would prefer to do option 2, but I can do option 1. You know,
Trustee Russell?
Yeah, Madam Chair. Yeah, on this one, it's not, and I'm just going to say, it's not fair to the other bidders in order to have option 2 as even a selected option, unless it's going to go back out to the other bidders in order to be able to put in for option 2, because they didn't know option 2 existed. So if we're going to be fair to all bidders, regardless of where they are, even though we do want to obviously give business to bidders in Ypsilanti Township, obviously as a preference first, for me, it would either have to be, we have to go with option 1, where all the bidders bid it, or if we're going to consider option 2, for me, it would have to go back out for bid.
Okay. Thank you.
I would move that we just reject those bids, that we go out for bids and we offer both of those, the high energy efficient and the lower one too. And we also include there is the option of what's it called, that puts the moisture in the air, because that saves you energy. Humidifiers, that we actually put the no, it's not humidifier.
Dehumidifier.
No, D's taken out. You're right, humidifier.
why
Yeah,
don't
we have those as all options.
Right.
we could do it that way. I would just assume let's just take option 1 and get the new furnaces in.
Because
I think so.
My motion is for the chief to be able to move forward with option 1 at $13,795.
That's what I supported. I think that's the way to go.
Okay. We can still talk, we can still talk.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna call
my
the
only
question.
my only concern is that is a huge space to heat, and 1 or 2% savings. Like I asked them at the thing, I said, has anybody had DT over here and run that out? Because for $3,000 more, you can save that percentage of your heating bill with the cost of gas. That's my thing, and so I don't know why we would ever. Would anybody in here? Would you put the lower ones in your house? We have no bills like
Why'd
that.
you bid them?
You know?
Why'd you bid them? If that's the case, why did we choose that bid to put out?
No, I'm just saying, since they're going back up, that's what I would do.
Well, I know, but
Right.
they must have been comfortable with what they bid until a bidder suggested, let's go with a Cadillac. I mean, that's what you said, basically.
Well, we did this in 2016. This is the second go-round. This is
Right.
kind of how L. Waters presents his offers. He did this a year ago. By the way, we have 5 furnaces in our fire headquarters, and we are replacing 4. We scavenge parts from the other 2 that we did to keep 1 up and running. We still have 1 more furnace to replace at fire headquarters. So there's a total of 5 furnaces there, and they're kind of the consumer, almost a home owner type, and not a commercial type furnace.
But this is commercial.
No.
88, what was it? 88,000 BTUs, is that what it was?
I think it's 84,000 BTUs
Yeah,
with
that's-
90. We asked for 90% efficiency rating in the bid specs.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Was anyone here in this room at the bidding thing? At the bidding? When the
When
bidding?
we opened them, yeah.
Who?
Me and Lisa. Were you there, Lisa? I know I was.
So can someone explain to me how this guy threw in this wild card of an idea, and maybe
He
that
just put it in his
process that shouldn't
spec.
happen?
And he wasn't the only one. There was some other ones. There were some other ones that offered a higher one too. So I don't know if, and maybe even all of them offered the higher. I can't remember.
Trying to understand if our process should be different, because I agree. I mean, Chief, I don't want to I wouldn't put the lowest version of what I asked for in my house, but I also agree with Trustee Ross Williams that, if no one else had an option to
Another
throw in the
difficulty
Cadillac,
with this is
that's a problem.
if I write specs for a 96%
Can we go to the microphone, Ms. Lisa?
a 96% efficient,
You would be
that might be
favoring
tailored, let's say, to Comfort Air's unit,
Right.
as opposed to Rheem or Lennox or some of the other manufacturers. So that's why we changed, or
Made it
we
vague.
wrote the spec as to what we had in the building, which was 1995 technology. Okay, so we couldn't bump it up to a 98% or 99% efficient. So we wrote it as to what we were replacing. This is called a replacement. So I think they were 90%ers, so we wrote the spec as what we were replacing.
According to the memo, Deputy Clerk Lisa Garrett and Captain Keith Har were there for the bids.
I think the point I would just like to make is that the people who bid on the specs that the chief created, but we can't control what people submit. So if Al Walters wants to choose to offer a higher efficiency unit at a different price, that's his, he put that in there, they come in sealed, we don't know what they look like until we open them. So we can't control what they give us, we just have to go with it. So, the chief can make a recommendation, and then I guess it's up to the board to decide with him what you want to do. But that second option that he provided, we can't, I guess stop a bidder from doing that.
Well, normally we wouldn't consider that, though. We wouldn't say, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not the specs that were bid out.
No, I understand. I'm just saying we can't control the information that's received. So
You can just control what's a recommendation
Right,
is on the
exactly.
memo.
So
But the second option still meets the minimum of the specs you put out, but it's just better.
Yeah, it exceeds, actually,
It
yes.
exceeds them.
So if I understand the chief, it's acceptable to go with option one. So the motion was by Eldridge and supported by Wilson for option one. Is that correct? Is that what I heard you say?
Correct.
And for Al Walters in the amount of what was that amount?
$795.
$795.
Yep.
Is that fine? Where? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. There's no
I
other,
have other business. Chief, I think we need, because I know you want to go out on the carpet bids, right?
Yes.
We just rejected, so can we have authorization to go back out on the carpet bids?
we just removed it, didn't we, from the agenda?
We withdrew it, but we got to go back out, because we've already bid.
I got to come back.
I mean, you want to go back
But
out,
let
right?
me redo the
Oh, you want to
specs.
bring it back? Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
All right.
And we'll have some measurements, and because actually my project manager did the specs for this, I didn't do them. So we'll reorganize and we'll come back.
Okay.
Madam Chair? Just real quick, I just want to say thank you to you and also to Clerk Rowe in regards to the things that have been discussed at the prior meeting and trying to find resolutions for that. I know we had a meeting last Saturday at the Westwell Neighborhood Association in order to try and let residents look for solutions and ideas, and I just want to say personally, thank you for your support with that. I definitely appreciate it, and I'm sure the residents do also, and also thank you for your support, Clerk Rowe, in the recent meeting that was had with Mr. Harrison. So just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. All right. Motion to adjourn? Motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. It was Gerald Rowe, Eldridge.
That's true, it was. We adjourned at 7:59. Is that a real restricted food or?